working with genetics, specifically on this one, CQ29 duplication. But I'm very happy that you have a diagnosis, because anything medically that you have to do. But where they go wrong with the diagnosis, or you might feel, especially if you Google, it's overwhelming when you actually get a diagnosis, especially like that, because you just think that's it. And if you do what they tell you to do, it is going to be just this. And you need to take a step back and say, okay, what does my child really need? First of all, your child is, the power or effort that your child is putting into this, huge. You can't be created. I'm working with someone that's had an accident right now, and that's the one thing I said to him too. There's a difference between, over there's a ball, you know what I mean? And she's trying to get it. It shouldn't be that hard to be a baby. And I think sometimes a lot of the movements get overlooked, and it's assumed it's due to the genetics when maybe it's not. The first thing we got to look at is she's got a heavy head. That's got to be your number one priority. The head should not be lagging off to the side. A lot of people think that that's a hypotonic response. It's just a heavy head response. I do have a course on heavy head. You can watch what I mean there. And then I would really go into the head and the vision. I know you're going to say, I can't work with her on the head while she's awake. No, you probably can't. I could, but you can't. You'd have to learn steps first, and I'm not here to overwhelm you. I need to be, for you, successful. You said a very important thing, and there's a reason why we do all of this. If you think that even your once a week in-home service, center-based service, whatever you think you're getting, but in your case, once a month is enough right now to help your child, you're getting such a false sense of security. You are going to have to do it. But guys, this is what we do for soccer practice. This is what we do when we bake cupcakes. I know none of you stepped up and said, oh, I'm going to have a baby and I'm going to be a therapist. It's not the way it works. I get it. It's ended up what happened to me, but I put it off for the longest time. I don't want you to go through what I went through. And this is why we do all this. Help is here. When you're ready to learn, help is here. You're ready to learn. You're ready to help your child. So what you're looking at here, any movement with the head, I call the absolute horizon really a milestone that's not recognized, where you can take your child and you can move them down to the crib and back again, and they kind of just float in your hands, almost like a little biplane or airplane going through the air. Right? And in your case, you really have to hold the head because of this heaviness. The head wants to succumb to gravity. A baby should never really succumb to gravity. Now, I mean, yes, if you drop the baby, obviously gravity's going to win, and that's not what we do. But it should not feel like you're pulling your child off the floor. And so when you're working with something like that, right, the moves that you're looking for is just these nice moves and so forth. So in other words, too, as you can see where the reach is happening, instead of being able to reach and this cross midline, it's you know, that the effort is here and you're going forward. Now, I really have to say that when you're working with hypotonia, every muscle is involved. The eyes are muscles. The heart's are muscles. It might not be imperative that you do it today, but you need a baseline. You need a baseline in every body part. I mean, I've done it for my son. My son's hypotonic. And you just need a baseline. Make sure you're, you know, because again, heart's a muscle. The eye's a muscle. Everything's a muscle. Even if you feel I don't have respiratory, your child getting sick is going to take it a lot harder breathing wise than someone is more typical. Not that they can't fight it, it's just the muscles that are involved. And so when you have these people on your list, right, now you're in established care versus coming in as a new person. So that's something to put in on the back of your head. And again, that's medical. We're working on development. So the first thing really we need to do is stabilize those head movements. So even when she's sleeping, right, you just want to be there and just working on, again, not so much the head and vision. You're going to be like, she's sound asleep, I'm working on eyes. You still want to do all those movements. These movements of moving around the head should just be so easy right now. And again, if you don't believe me, get down on the floor and you flop your head over like this and feel like you have the muscles to do what she's doing. Stop you're going to chase your tail. Everybody's going to tell you it's about tone. It's not about tone. Her movements are just too big. I'll do it here with my iced tea, right? When I'm doing something as simple as this, these movements are way too big for something to control. This is why we don't ask our 2-year-old to take food away from the table, right? But when you add your touch, your rotation, I'm still going fast. I can't get the violent movements, right? And that's what you're after. So right now, when she's tilting her head and doing all these things, look at the amount of movement that's there versus if she was just tilting it like this. And that's your first goal. You've got to stabilize and make her movements easier. Once they're easier, then she has more strength. If it's easy for us, then we have the strength to do it. When anything's hard for us to do, sometimes we just feel we're just never strong enough. Emotionally, physically, it doesn't matter. Make it easier, and that's your number one priority. So try those out. And then again, follow-up videos in around 2 weeks. But I would really get in the Fast Start support system or the child support system, because you're in it for the long haul, yes, but you'll get that daily calendar, that Erin made, that you can go in and step by step and what videos to work on is just, it's just priceless, and it'll just make it nice and simple for you. Thanks.